Do you see a resurgence in a tube coming back, or?
I do. In the Seattle area, we have stores called Silver Platters. They were selling CDs all the time, and LPs went out. Nobody, the music store stopped selling LPs a long time ago, and they're back now. You walk in the store and there's LPs, those big black round things.
Those things right there.
Your hat.
The hats.
These things.
Trade off now.
Your hat.
Best Buy and Amazon are doing them, I believe.
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yes.
Best Buy is starting to stock LPs.
Yes.
Wow.
Tubes and vinyl roll.
There's something magical about tubes and vinyl together. So.
All right, well, hey, speaking of tubes, Bob, there's been talk going around the town here at CarverFest that you might be building a tube phono pre, much like the fantastic unit you have in the new Sunfire we got to treat to.
You know what? Now that I don't have a job, I think I'll do that. I'm going to put even more tubes in than I put in mine.
Oh, geez.
Quieter and quieter.
Fantastic. You did a nice job on that. I was impressed.
You got a chance to listen. It was quiet, wasn't it? And I can make it even quieter.
And don't
All
forget the
hand drawn.
sculpture. Don't forget the sculpture.
Oh, the sculpture helped. That's what made it sound good.
We have a question about,
I'm sorry.
Blu-ray.
Go ahead.
It says here, Doug Sachs recently stated he'd retire his cutting lathes again if the sound quality of Blu-ray eclipses that of vinyl.
Doug Sachs
Where do you
said
see
that?
the future of Blu-ray headed?
Oh man, I have no idea. There's too many variables. I mean, I like vinyl and cartridges, and I just do. And if there are enough of us that like vinyl and cartridges,
So,
you know, we'll have Blu-ray existing side by side. But when we're really serious, guess what we'll take out and listen to? Vinyl. I mean, that's the way I am. How about you?
Blu-ray would be with
no,
Beta.
Yeah, Blu-ray and
you
Beta.
gotta get up.
Blu-ray, Beta, mini disc, all the stuff Sony comes
What's a
out with.
VHS here?
I heard in the discussion somebody was talking about changing a piece of your old gear, changing the tubes in the 390 or the 490, and I remember your response and you said, well yeah, it'll work fine, but it won't sound the way I designed it. Many of us have a lot of your gear that was built back in Shinnomish, like mine and my wife's system, and it gives a certain personality to the music, which is obviously the way you designed it. It keeps fun in the music, like you have to tap your foot when you're listening. Do you see anything in the future that keeps that personality coming?
Yeah, over the years, I've sort of, in an evolution way, have evolved into the sonic personality of my equipment. I plan to keep it, and it's an ongoing, it's a continuous process. It'll keep changing and being modified. And when I first started, I slid down that learning curve pretty rapidly, and now it's sort of tapered off, so I'm going down slowly, but it's still going. So the answer is yes.
So for continuance on the 490T, what do you see as a replacement brand, or however you want to say it, because I think it's a 6 something.
It's a 6DJ8, isn't it?
Right. So what would be, if the tube went bad, what would you suggest to replace it with?
Call me, because I've got a lifetime supply of the pre-wall falling down 6DJ8, 6922. They're the best tube in the world. It's great, and I got lots of them.
And if you change it to something else, which you'll read about, people say, try this. You'll put the original tubes back in because it just kills the personality of it.
You've tried it, huh? Yeah. They'll work. I mean, they will. But you know what tube to try? There's one. You need a 6-volt tube that's wired like a 12AX7, and a 6N7 is that kind of tube. And they're $1. Nobody wants them. They're $1 or $2 on eBay. Nobody wants them. I haven't tried it, but it looks good on paper. I'm going to order one as soon as I get back and try it.
I think you need to edit that out.
You've tried it, huh?
Price just went up, I guess, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's why they're $1?
Good for them.
Hey Bob,
Yes,
I've
sir.
got a question for you. With Carver amplifiers, magnetic field amplifiers, how compatible are they with power conditioners? I've noticed a lot of high-end uses line conditioners and voltage stabilizers and the such. If your amplifiers are depending on the power grid for their magic, how does that play with those other products?
Plugging one of the magnetic field amplifiers into a power conditioner won't do any good at all. It might even do something bad. It'll screw up the power conditioner because it fires at a funny angle that most things aren't used to. Not funny for it or for me, but funny for it. And it self-regulates. It has a feedback circuit that just regulates that power just right, exactly the way I want it to be. And plugging it into something else won't enhance it at all.
What about if you have problems with different input voltages?
It doesn't matter. It'll regulate the.
Because we've run into that problem down here. A lot of the cabins are at 130 volt, 132 volt.
Well, a magnetic field amplifier should regulate within limits just fine. I mean, it'll be a little high in 130, but not high enough to worry about. I could be wrong. That's just what I think from having designed it for so long ago. Has anybody measured the voltage?
It's in the 130s down here.
I mean, B plus voltage inside the amp. No, okay. But I think it's
We're
regular.
on vacation.
Yeah,
so-
that's right.
We have a funeral tonight at
There was
12 for all
a,
the tubes we blown.
couple of threads regarding, the subject was how to kill a Carver amp.
Run it over.
Apparently some people, it doesn't make sense to me, so I'm wondering if it's true or not, that if you run only high frequencies through it, or only one particular set of frequencies through it, that the amp's gonna die. Anybody, you know the one?
As if you buy amp it.
Well,
No, you know the thread I'm talking about?
He's talking about your cube amps. I think you had two rails or three rails.
3.
And when you got into if you ran it for bi-amping and you just ran continuous highs through it, it would latch onto the high voltage rail and never shut off, basically. It would never go down. It would sort of basically overheat and cook. But I thought I read that there was a fix that was done later on.
In my mind, I
Stop
just
that.
wonder, in my concept of an amplifier, it wouldn't really give a damn what frequency it's amplifying. It would just amplify it, depending on how loud or low it is.
Well,
But is there frequency dependency on something, on the switching inside it?
yeah, there is. The higher the frequency the amplifier is asked to produce, the more inefficient it is, so the hotter it tends to get. But it's only a tendency, it's nothing absolute. And the way I've designed these amplifiers, or at least I think I've designed it this way, is that I go into the design with the assumption that whoever owns it's going to try and blow the amplifier up and kill him or herself. And so the protection circuits have to thwart him or her at every turn of the way. So if you put high frequencies into it and just rap on it, the amp will go with high frequencies and go, oops, I don't like this, and shut itself off. And it'll stay off until the high frequency drive is removed. If it gets too hot, it'll shut itself off. If the load is too reactive, it'll shut itself off. So there are a lot of things that will make the amplifier shut down. Now, once it's shut down, a little red light blinks on the front, and by it says, okay, I'm fine, and pops back on, and it's ready to go again. If the fault's still there, it'll shut itself off again. Now, it might be that there's somehow that if you run it by-wired or by-amp, that it gets itself in trouble, but I can't
It's
see
just,
it.
you know what thread you're talking about. It's what people have talked about on the internet. And I can't say from personal experience, but
They're talking about 5 kilohertz at least.
and it just happened to be with the cube amp. And it was what I thought I read later on in the thread. It said that Carver Corporation, made a fix for that, so it would unlatch itself instead of staying locked onto the high voltage rail. So the early ones did.
Oh, was it early ones?